Well, every January, lots of folks beat out through the snow to come to Power Show, Ohio. Joining me is Dennis Alford. And Dennis, I guess some years we have rain, some years we have snow, some years we wonder. This year, we've had a lot of snow already, but it hasn't dampened the spirits when people come out to Power Show. First of all, tell us who puts on Power Show, Ohio?
Well, Dale, Power Show Ohio is sponsored by the Ohio-Michigan Equipment Dealers Association. There's about 500 dealers across Ohio and Michigan that sell farm equipment, construction equipment, lawn and garden equipment.
Now, when you look at all those things for the organization, they have some meetings and things that happen all outside of this, but this is a chance really to highlight some of their new products and things for the year.
Well, that's exactly right. That's why the show was started, to create sales for the member, bring in their products that they represent, have the people come here and see them, and then go back to the dealership next week and buy them.
Lots of the things we've seen have kind of cycled through for the years. If you haven't been to the show in several years, there's quite a different variety than there was, say, 3 to 5 years ago.
Yeah, and even further back than that, there's been a gradual progression change from farm equipment, which there's still a good component of, but we still have a lot of lawn and garden equipment, construction equipment, become a really big component of the show also.
Even when you look at companies like John Deere, several years ago, they had their primary business on the ag side, or maybe had the construction or looking at the timber side. Now the dealers are pretty complete, and they've got everything from gators to their consumer product line, and they want to put it all in one booth at one time.
Well, exactly right. The farms has changed too. I mean, there's often off-farm income that's important to a lot of farmers, and so those are the types of pieces of equipment they need to have available to them.
You look at this different show and you look at all the different things and anything truly from construction to farm, but on Saturday and Sunday for a lot of people it's kiddie pedal tractor pull, and then we'll see the rest of the show why we're here.
Exactly. That's become an enormous thing. 23rd year this year, and there's going to be 200 or 300 kids, I think, from between the ages of 3 and 8 that'll run through there, and they just have a blast, and we really enjoy having them.
Now, a few years ago, we saw a change in some of the displays, picking up a lot more of the energy side, from the wood stoves to some solar and some different things. Are you seeing more and more of that kind of interest explore this show?
Absolutely. The stoves and the wood burners and the outdoor burners are really growing. The other thing that's really picked up is firewood processing equipment. There's a lot of log splitters and bundlers and different pieces of equipment to deal with firewood itself.
We also typically think of Friday, and maybe it's from the exhibitor side, we think of that as when the trustees come to the show, the county people come out. It's a day of work, but at the same time, it's good exploration to see what's available for our industry and for our business.
That's right, and this economic times that we're having, it's important to see what you can get to make yourself a little more efficient, and it's a good time to come down to the show.
Now, does anybody sell at the show? It used to be you really talked taboo about selling at the show, but maybe there's some areas now that actually happens.
Well, no, we've realized that we had to make that change, and products can be purchased right here. Obviously, the bigger equipment is not going to leave the show, but if there's some little small items that you can hand carry, they're here and available for you.
Well, given the inventory of some of the dealers in today's economic times of where you have to, it may be at the show and may get delivered sometime next week and be in the actual show equipment that you saw.
Absolutely. That's a bit of an issue on some of these shows where the exhibitors are having trouble getting equipment to bring to shows to demonstrate and to show to the folks. So it's a challenge.
Educational seminars happened, depending on the topic. It kind of determines the crowd. Grain marketing's always been one of the bigger ones for the groups.
That's right. You guys have sponsored that for a lot of years for us, and we're happy for that. Farm management seminars that are put on by the Ohio State University Ag Engineering Department, and then they bring in some of the economists also, and so you get a little mix there, but you get some good farm information.
I heard some demonstrations on cooking demonstrations being announced as well. That's relatively new.
Relatively new and expanded this year quite a bit. Ohio Proud is expanding their partner program, and so we've brought in several more of those and have a few more cooking demos during the day, and so that's a nice little area to get some samples and to learn some cooking tips.
If people aren't familiar or haven't seen the layout, your 4 buildings now, how many square feet does this thing encompass?
4 buildings, they encompass about 300,000 square feet.
And I don't know how many years ago, but several years ago, went to covered walkways between the buildings. You wouldn't think it was a big deal, but some days it was a real relief to have that.
Yeah, it's a great thing to have. It doesn't really keep you really warm, but it does knock the wind down and keeps the precipitation off of you.
Now, if somebody wants to check each year what's coming up and the show schedule, you've got a nice website to be able to keep tabs on as well.
Yeah, and again, back to the sponsoring association's website, which is the Ohio Michigan Equipment Dealers Association. That's omeda.org, and you'll find the link to Power Show Ohio right there.
Power Show Ohio, run by Dennis Alford, and as you can tell by Dennis's height, he's easy to find anywhere in the crowd. Their colors have always been yellow and black, and they stand out everywhere they go as well. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, I'm Dale Minyo, and I'll see you down the road.